Start with that. Cool. Yeah. Happy birthday, Ethereum. 10 years. But we are focusing on the future in the fellowship we are building for present and for the future. So we get a special guest today. Our first AMA with BarnaBas from PandaOps. So BarnaBas is part of the PandaOps team of Ethereum Foundation. You might heard about the team. You would probably used some of their tools in your EPF journey. And I invited BarnaBas because before we even get started looking into the implementation, we need to understand what tooling people need to use to locally prototype, to develop, to understand how the network is actually run and analyzed and so on. So we are starting with BarnaBas here today, and thank you so much for being here. Of course, thank you so much for taking the time. And to give people some more context to get to know you a bit, please tell us about yourself. Tell us maybe more about PandaOps and what is your specific role. What are you working on these days?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Barnabas, and I've started my Ethereum journey approximately 3 years ago. Almost exactly 3 years ago. Tomorrow it's going to be my third year anniversary. And I'm in a team of 7 people right now. We have 3 people living in Australia. We have 4 people living in Europe. And the Australian people are working mainly on the monitoring side, and the European people are focusing on the development of different tooling and the testing. Uh, you guys probably heard about Pari. Pari is the other guy that is really pushing all the testing efforts, and together Pari and me are the main people focusing on the testing side of things and the coordination with the different client teams. So our main work is focusing on interoperability between the different CL and EA clients, basically making sure that all the CL clients are able to work with all the EA clients and vice versa. And the different client teams are now have a combined number of 30 combinations to test each of the different clients. And yeah, so basically we just we focus on the prototyping, the initial test of different client implementations of a new fork or the current fork and the best fork. So we have tests for currently running networks and the future forks, which is right now the Fusaka. I'm not sure how much I should, how much background I need to give for the fellows.
Well, that's good for the start, just to have some context. But maybe more about your background, because you just mentioned it's 3 years since you started in Ethereum. So maybe tell us more about yourself. What have you done before? What is your journey actually starting in Ethereum? What was it like before? I mean, I'm not sure if PandaOps was even PandaOps 3 years ago, whether it wasn't DevOps at the time still.
Yeah, so 3 years ago, before I joined Ethereum, I have actually worked at CERN, which is a physics experiment in Switzerland. I was there for 2 years. I did my master degree there, basically finished my thesis there. And before that, I was doing an internship on cargo vessels, and I was swapping out physical equipment on cargo ships. And I did my bachelor's in the Netherlands in University of Groningen, and I did my master's in TU Delft, also in Netherlands. Uh, yeah, so EthPandaOps basically is a team that has been created at the time when I joined. It was not a team before, and just when we started, just when I started, that's when the team was actually created. And I think the actual official name was agreed on around the 20th of August of 2022. So just a couple of weeks before the merge. And yeah, so personally, my first work was working on the merge together with Pari, Rafael, and Sam back then. And then we started hiring some more people. And Yeah, my really my first actual fork was the fork right after the merge, which was Chapella.
Chapella.
Chapella, yep, with the withdrawals. It was a very small fork, and very sad that I can actually get my hands dirty and work on that.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so the Chapella and the merge time, so it's very exciting to join. Like that was a big project that everybody just looked forward to. Everybody was really focused on it. So that's good energy. So I'm wondering, like, what drives you today, or what is something exciting? What are you looking forward to in the roadmap or in the current work on the protocol? What excites you the most?
Right. So currently, my main like 95% of my focus is on Fusaka, which is our next fork. Hopefully, we can ship that in Q4 of this year. Fusaka, Fusaka's main headliner EIP is PeerDAS, which is going to enable smaller validators to reduce their bandwidth requirements and larger validators to have an increased duties, basically. And this is going to enable us to further scale the blobs throughput for layer 2s.
Yeah, Pyrrhus is very exciting change. It's really cool. We finally have the developable sampling reaching it. Cool. So I will open the questions for the audience. I'm just going to get us started. If you guys have questions, feel free to raise your hand or write in the chat if you cannot speak. If you cannot use your mic, but please ask some questions. And before we get some, we actually have some questions in the agenda from the folks who couldn't attend. Um, from Bridge, we have a question about monitoring blind spots, whether there are any monitoring blind spots in the current Ethereum infrastructure, something that could bite us during the next hard fork, whether there are any missing systems that you or the PandaOps wishes that existed. Yeah. We have, I mean, it grew a lot. Is there still anything missing in the infrastructure?
Yeah, so we hope that we cover everything, but as you know about blind spots is that they are blind until you recognize them. So it's very hard to know what is going wrong until that thing is actually going wrong. So we are really trying to do as many edge case testing as we possibly can, and really for the rest, we hope for the best. So we had a few accidents in Pectra. When we were shipping Pectra, we had an incident on Holsky, which led to a bunch of validators getting ejected. It was something that could have been avoided with a shadow fork, which we decided not to do because of the extra cost that would have been involved in doing a shadow fork for Holsky. We decided not to do a shadow fork for Sepoli either, and Sepoli also had a bug that was caused by the different deposit contract value that we use on Sepolia. So none of them were major issues, but they were all issues that are not a good look. And ideally, we want to avoid having breaking changes and breaking forks in any testnets. And this is exactly why we do a bunch of devnets before we start forking public testnets. And I think this also already answered the second half of the question, which was if I would have any war stories, things that look good on testnets or during simulations, but assumptions not holding for production. So luckily, we didn't have any major incident on mainnet in Pectra, but yeah, breaking the testnet was definitely something that is not something that we're looking forward.
Yeah, thank you so much for answering both questions there. Yeah, I was going to ask the war story as well. It was tough during the vector testing, and I remember when we had the EF retreat, like half of the EF in a single room, and the Pectra was hard working in the morning, and like a few minutes after, all of the Panda ops, all of the get team just stands up, goes away, and it was clear that something's up. Thank you so much for answering that one, and I will give out a chance for somebody to raise their hand in case there are some questions here. Nobody? We have June.
Yeah. Hi, Barnabas. My name is Jun, and I really love the Pandas works. So they built a lot of tools, which is very useful that we use every day. So I wonder how the PandaOps teams work. So, for example, what brought you to work on the PureDAS or Fusaka right now? So, is there any members who assign the task, or the members are self-motivated to uh, dive into the specific topic or so? So yeah, that's my question.
Yeah, so our work is split among, as I mentioned, we have 3 people in Australia. So those people are mainly focused on collecting metrics. So if you have ever worked with Zatu or Zatu Data, uh, they are really responsible for building that ClickHouse data set, for example, and all the monitoring, all the Grafana dashboards that you see, that was all them. And then we have the people in Europe. Pari and me are mainly focused on the actual testing of the clients. So working with the client teams, communicating with them, discussing what's going good, what's not going so good. So this work is kind of split between him and me. And we discuss internally which fork he wants to do, or which feature he wants to do, and which feature I want to work on. And then we have 2 other people that are mainly working on tooling, Rafael and PK. So PK, for example, single-handedly built the Dora Explorer like a week before he joined our team even. And so that has been a tool that's been very, very powerful. And then he also wrote Spammer, and Rafael has been helping a lot in the tooling side as well. So this is how we kind of split it up. So Pari right now is mainly focused on pushing the gas limit, all the performance .NET side of things, and I'm tasked to ship the next fork, which is Fusaka. And then we're going to be starting Glamsterdam scoping very, very soon. We're going to have Glamsterdam.net coming up. And possibly in parallel, we're going to be doing some lean Ethereum related stuff, and which is the Beam chain. Originally was called the Beam chain.
So follow-up question. There are many tools built by PandaOps. So I wonder how they made from the scratch. So is there any needs from the community, or the Panda team need something to build that tool or something?
I would say all of our tooling is based on our current needs. If we see that something is needed, we make it. And that is the best way, because lots of people like to build tools and then they never end up using it themselves. So what we found very useful is if we are the ones building a tool and we are actually using it, we can iterate on it so fast. Like, we don't need to make the perfect tool from day one. What we want to do is have some proof of concept in implementation of something. That's also how Dora started. It was very, very lightweight in the beginning. We had the whole thing basically sit in memory. We didn't even have a database for it, and we just needed to have something up and running as soon as possible, just to have some kind of quick observability of the network health. And then we started adding extra functionality, extra features, and as you see it right now, it has full functionality for PeerDAS, observability as well. It has visibility in the column structures, and you able to make queries with the EthPandaOps Guardian, which is a tool that's able to mimic a consensus layer client and able to scope out if a specific client has everything that it says it's supposed to have, like all the columns, considering everything. So yeah, I
Thank you
would
so
say
much.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, I would say everything is basically built by us for our current needs.
Yeah, so I really love how they integrate with the curtices, so we can just fix our YAML file that we can use the amazing tools. So yeah, I really love those tools, and kudos to PandaOps. Thanks for answering my
Yeah.
question.
So Curtis has been actually one of the first projects I picked up. It was very much a proof of concept back when I started working on it, and I've been trying to make it as user-friendly as possible without introducing many breaking changes. So I'm really hoping to get as many devs on Kurtosis as possible because it's a really, really great dev experience, I think.
Yes, thank you so much. Irene, yeah, go ahead.
Hi. Yes, I don't know if it's too early to ask, but yes, I also had a question about kurtosis because currently my project is about like migrating the SimTest framework in Lodestar to kurtosis. So I was wondering whether you are actively using kurtosis as a testing framework, and also because I saw it like being used in the Ethereum community more and more. So do you think that it will become like the go-to testing tool also in the future in a, let's say, more stable way, as now is still like being maintained and so on? Thank you.
So Kurtosis is the engine that's running underneath the Ethereum package. I'm guessing your question is mainly focused on the Ethereum package instead of the Kurtosis engine.
Yes, exactly. I meant the Ethereum package. Yes.
So the Ethereum package is something that I personally use maybe 100 times a day. So it's something that I use very, very, very heavily. And we continuously trying to improve it and make it better and keep it as feature complete as possible. We don't intend it to be a production system. We want to keep it as the focus as possible. We don't plan to have it running for months or years in a Kurtosis environment because it's not what it's meant to do. We don't want to. We don't want other people to basically spin up a scam chain on Kurtosis and offer it as their next whatever. So that's why we explicitly say that this is not meant to be run as production. It's meant to be run as a dev tool. In terms of migrating tests into that, I would say it's very stable, and you should definitely look into doing that. We have multiple asserter test examples where you could run a CI job and basically ensure that whatever test you write in the asserter is going to adhere to what you want to do. So yeah, I can highly recommend migrating into Kurtosis.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great advice. We have a hand up for Lee. Yeah, you want to ask something?
Thanks. I already have my question in chat. The major question is about the PRDAS because you mentioned that. Also, during your implementation and also maybe the research, did you identify any challenges or any problems that need to be solved? I mean, not even in only in PRDAS, maybe also the further DAS, which or maybe some feature you want.
Yeah, so right now the biggest open questions in PRDAS is still backfill and syncing issues. So most of the CI clients have syncing issues right now when they depend on reconstructing. So in a perfect PRDAS scenario where you have 16 nodes with 8 validator custody nodes each, and you're trying to basically remove 1 or 2 nodes from that network and try to sync up a new node to that network, and you are requesting columns that require reconstruction or from a different set of columns. That is something that is a huge pain point at this point. And it really needs to be ironed out before next month, before we can start forking production testnets, basically. I think that is right now the #1 priority for most consensus layer clients.
Why is that part is hard? Is because of the communication of the network or?
Yeah, so reconstruction requires a bunch of P2P communication, and your node will have to basically request a column that nobody has. And from that, you're gonna need to figure out inside your client to request a column that can be used to reconstruct the column that you need. And this is logic that is new, and it's something that has never been tested before. And this is what makes it difficult. So far on the DevNets, what we've been doing is happy case testing, and even the happy case testing has been a pretty big struggle because of the huge changes in the P2P layer and the complete rewrite of the blob structure, basically.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I lost my connection like just for a few seconds.
Yeah, I think everyone got kicked.
Okay, so it's only me. I mean, it's like the meeting hits the DOS, something like that. No. Yes. I mean, it's like yeah, that's true. That's true. But that feature sounds not like reconstruction. That sounds like repair, right? It's like if one node want to get just one column, it's not really like reconstruct the whole set of the data.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, so the whole point of the reconstructing is that you require columns that other people don't have. And because of the properties of PeerDAS, you're going to be able to reconstruct those columns that nobody has from other columns as well. So you will have to, your client will have to request other columns that some nodes will have and use those to reconstruct the columns that you need. And this is something that is most likely never going to happen in mainnet Ethereum because of the sheer amount of available nodes. But it's still something, it's still an edge case that we have to test.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We're actually also discussing the repairability of the DOS because let's say we need to reconstruct or repair one column. We only need to touch like very few nodes. Let's say 5 or 6 nodes. That's already enough. You don't need to really touch everyone to reconstruct that. Would that be good for this situation?
I mean, it depends on how many columns you want to custody. Because if you need to reconstruct 8 columns that nobody has, then you will have to, worst case, reach out to 16 different nodes.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, it's I understand that part. I mean, if we can reduce the number of the nodes you need to touch, if you just need to like the node just need to reconstruct a few columns, let's assume only one node's lost, and not like many nodes lost. Would that be a good feature or something like be benefit for the network?
Well, I was explicitly talking about the perfect PeerDAS scenario where you have exactly 16 nodes with 8 custody columns for each. So that's why I said like if you remove a node from that specific scenario, then you will have to reach out to basically everyone else to reconstruct the custody columns that you need.
Yeah. I'm thinking about like the folders, like when we design the folders, how can we avoid such situation or maybe make it better?
For folders, yeah, it's gonna be a totally different story, I think.
Yeah.
I haven't thought that far ahead.
Yeah. Cool. Do you have any like test results or like for the PeerDAS now?
For the what?
Like the test or the like some benchmark for the DAS now.
For full DAS?
For PeerDAS.
For PeerDAS, for reconstruction or for syncing?
Yeah, both maybe.
Well, reconstruction is currently not yet implemented in any of these CR clients. So reconstruction benchmarks are not yet existing. Hopefully in the next month we can get the implementation worked on that, and we'll have some benchmarks for that. And for the reconstruction, it's still work in progress. So we also don't have many benchmarks for that yet.
Okay.
Maybe in the end of next month, we're going to have more numbers, hopefully.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks a lot.
Awesome, thank you. It's interesting to dive into PeerDAS a bit. And before anyone, feel free to raise your hand. But before somebody does, we have one more question unanswered in the issue from Dimitrios about testing beam chain. Beam chain includes many changes that are not incremental, but from different consensus mechanism. There's also new cryptography. What is the strategy to create good coverage tests and predict attacks on so many new components? So, yeah, if you can talk more about the strategy, sort of.
Yeah, so personally, I have not yet looked too much into Beamchain and Lean Ethereum, how we call it now. It's because it's so prototypey at this point. We haven't, our team hasn't spent too much time on it yet, but hopefully in the coming weeks we can take a closer look. As far as I understand right now, we're going to need to rework a bunch of our tooling for getting Lean Ethereum working. So that will require us to have an update in our libraries to update the Genesis generator. It's going to need a totally different validator key generator as well, because it should use post quantum cryptography, which might mean that key generation will take a lot longer time, and hopefully we can find a way to make it quick on local testing. Ideally, we want to have a very similar test suite scenario set up for beam chain testing as we have right now for Ethereum. So hopefully we can integrate all the required changes into the Ethereum package as much as we have for the current consensus layer clients. So I expect again to have a bit better view at this maybe a month or two from now, when we actually have a better Beamchain client implementation that's ready to test something.
Yes, it's a lot of unknowns, and the thing is, like, one thing I would add, like, it will require a lot of additions to testing, of course, but I think it's still not even that big as merge. Even maybe the scope of the changes, but the testing that we had before the merge is not even comparable to the robustness of it today. So now we have, I think, much better infrastructure to work from. Yeah. Folks, any more questions? Feel free to raise your hands or write in the. Better maybe don't write in the chat, because I think Jitsi is causing issues, and I don't see all the chat messages. There was one before about why it's Panda and not Lion. I'm not sure if you answered that, but it's a very easy question. PandaOps came from the merge testing from the meme that Xiaowei created, that you put black and white bear and it's a panda, and it was the merge. So the PandaOps are coming from this time. Yeah. Any questions? Feel free to keep raising hands for backlog. Jimmy. Yeah.
Oh, hi. I also wrote this actually in the GitHub issue, but it's with different clients. Could you share with us, like, what is your common setup you use to test one test case, or even a simple one? And is there docs or more on how EthPanda team actually conduct testing on different clients, and where that I can learn more about, like, the whole testing procedures, and I can try it out.
Yeah, so one of our major testing tool is Asserter. Asserter ensures that a certain condition is valid. So it's also a tool that PK has written from the ground up, and it's a tool that basically validates. I'm not sure if you can see my chat. It looks like the chat doesn't seem to be working for me, at least.
Yeah, the chat is not stable.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe Mario, you can share Asserter with EPF fellows.
Yes.
The Asserter GitHub link. So basically, Asserter is a versatile tool that is designed to do comprehensive testing of the Ethereum clients, every single client. So it can check for CL and EL if they are up to sync. It can submit transactions. It can submit BS key changes, and then it can assert specific conditions like did the BS key change have happened, and is the chain afterwards still stable? So this tool is basically just asserts a specific condition and checks against all the different clients that you run in Kurtosis Enclave. So the prerequisite for this is either a Kurtosis Enclave or a running testnet or DevNet. So we deploy Asserter. We can deploy Asserter in Kurtosis with a very simple additional line to say, hey, I want Asserter to also run in my Kurtosis Enclave. And we also spin up Asserter on all of our DevNets, and we periodically run some specific tests depending on the fork. So for example, Pectra had a bunch of changes regarding MaxCB, and MaxCB introduced so many edge cases that we had to write some tests that were checking, changing your validator from 0x00 to 0x01, then changing it to 0x02, then submitting some deposit, then checking if the deposit has reached the beacon chain, then check if the effective balance have increased successfully. And all these stats were basically written with the base components of Asserter tests.
I see. Thank you.
Thank you. Another question from Drew.
Yeah, so my question is, do you have any personal opinion about the shorter slot time? Because I think there exists a discrepancy between researcher and engineer about the slot time. So yeah, I just wonder about your opinion.
I think it's something that needs to be done after Amsterdam. I don't think it should happen in Amsterdam. I think we need to focus on the slot restructuring first. We need to focus on basically what client teams want instead of pushing for what Ethereum researchers want. Every single client team has basically made a public opinion about they wanting EPBS, ASAP, and fossil as well. So there's a huge push for EPBS and fossil, and that leaves very little space to do shorter slot times for the next fork, in my opinion. Also, shorter slot times is something that has not been very heavily researched, whether it would break any existing contracts or not. As far as we initially thought, it would not touch any existing contracts, but it might still affect some places more than others. So there's so many unknowns about shorter slot times, and yeah, just doing shorter slot times before EPBS, it doesn't seem like the right choice.
Thanks.
It's interesting. Thank you so much. Very glad to hear that. To be honest, it's tough on the nodes to get faster and faster. Yeah, do we have some more questions? Anyone curious about anything?
Yeah, I have one more question. Yeah.
Go for it, June.
Yeah, so very basic question. If I I'm interested in joining PandaOps team, what's your recommendation from now on?
That's an easy question. I, yeah, working on tooling, testing. I don't know. It's probably one of the hardest questions to ask me. I'm not responsible for recruitment in our team. We basically want to hire people that are very, very familiar with the whole Ethereum ecosystem. We want people that basically know client teams in and out. They know how they work and fully aware of what the future forks might hold, and basically be in the picture of like how to test things. Because I think right now we have the bottleneck of writing tests and writing edge cases and writing asserter tests. It has become a very complicated tool, asserter, and that means that it's rather difficult to make new tests because it's so configurable that it's maybe overly configurable at this point. So we are working on possibly making it a bit easier by reducing the complexity. But yeah, definitely if you look at the asserter repo and you see that, hey, there's a test missing and you just want to help to contribute, then yeah, that would be very, very good.
Cool, thank you.
Okay, awesome. More thoughts, questions. We have so many people here who haven't asked anything yet, so please take the opportunity. We have Miroslav Edinson. Go ahead.
Hey Barnabas, I hope you can hear me. Yeah, so I'm working on this project with Lighthouse, where basically because of the Pictra incident, the whole scale incident that happened, so we are like restructuring this caching mechanism, caching structure in Lighthouse from count based, that is the number of beacon states, to a memory aware caching mechanism. So this is the change that I'm working on. But my question is like, is there any such kurtosis scripts or configurations that we can like use or like in a testnet to create such simulate such like non-finality in like situation or large validator sets so that we can test it out once the implementation is done? Like how can we figure that out?
Sorry, so you want to create a large beacon state?
Like how can we simulate such period like any in any test net, like such periods of non-finality where we can test whether this thing is actually working, where in like yeah.
Yeah, so basically kurtosis allows you to just stop validator client, and if you have not that many validator clients, you stop 40% of them, then you will have a non-finality. And then you can mimic to try to gain back finality by just restarting that validator client. So creating a non-finality scenario on kurtosis is actually very, very simple. And you can also do it programmatically using Asserter. So you can look up some non-finality tests in Asserter and basically implement exactly what you need in order for you to be able to do it in a TI test, for example, if you want to programmatically create a non-finality scenario.
Right, that makes sense. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm curious about more similar questions, folks. If you have, if you're working on contributing to a client and you want to make sure that you test it properly before you open PR, you can get some tips now.
Yeah, so basically if you create a new container image, locally built even, and you just run that container image in kurtosis, and you see that, if you change something that would modify how the beacon node would attach, for example, and your implementation is still working without throwing any crazy errors, then that's a pretty good test already. And if you can do interrupt testing with other clients without you needing to, dive into and figure out how to compile Rust binary, for example, you can just use a container image and you will be able to test interrupt testing basically locally before you even submit your PR.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. That's great advice. Definitely recommend doing proper testing before submitting like final version of PR, so the reviewers have less bugs to deal with. So you need to be confident in what you're submitting. Yeah, yeah. Any more thoughts, questions for BarnaBas? So I wanted to ask about your favorite PandaOps tool because you already mentioned so many things, and I think I might know the answer, but I wanted to tell you that the lab website is my favorite recently with all the set to data. So that's really cool. So I'm curious, yeah, what is your favorite tool? And like about Exatu, like if there is something that you found surprising as you started collecting all this data, it's still growing, of course. Like whether there was something interesting that you found in the data.
So my favorite tool would definitely be the Ethereum package. As pretty much I've been working on that as my full-time job in the past few years. Other than the Ethereum package, it's probably second best is Dora. Dora just been really great at everything. And the third one is probably Spammer. Spammer just has been so good at basically finding crazy bugs and generating insane amount of traffic. And Spammer has like a total different dimension as well to be able to do state bloat, basically create massive transactions and create basically any scenario that you want to test in a very rapid way. So yeah, these three would probably be my top three. And sorry, there was a second part of the question as well.
Yeah. I was asking about Exatu. I was telling you about
yeah.
that. Yeah, whether there's something interesting in the data there that surprised you.
Yeah, so Zatu has been very good at helping us making good decisions regarding whether we could increase the gas limit, for example. So we have a contributor tool that is helping us feed in metrics into Zatu, and using basically random people around the globe feeding us data and giving us observability across different countries, different ISPs, different hardwares, and seeing the long tail of the increasing of the gas limit. We can just make much better predictions going forward using that.
Awesome. Yeah, it's really cool. And finally, having some like real world data at the palm of your hand, it's really useful. And it's really cool that we have so many PandaOps tools that we can just make like a tier list now. It's with yeah, and also Dora that you mentioned. We haven't mentioned it before, but yeah, PK was working on it. It's so cool that it's just so simple and it works. Like running the Beacon Chain Explorer from the Austrian guys, right? It's just so heavy, so complicated, and Dora just works. Like it's so easy to deploy and has so much.
I mean, they do have a lot more observability and attestation data, so that's why their tool is so much more heavy, because attestations are, especially in mainnet, attestations are super heavy operation, and they keep track of basically every single attestation of every single validator, which is the main reason that we needed to create Dora, where attestation information is basically lost after a few epochs. So we just keep that all in RAM.
Yeah. I mean, for our use case, it's just so much better. Yeah. And yeah, folks, do you have any questions about some specific PandaOps tool, there is, as you can see, so many of them. So tell us about your favorite one. Irene?
Okay, I'm gonna have a follow-up question about the Ethereum package. So, are you integrating in the future new features, or do you think it? Okay, which one, for example?
So as I mentioned, we're gonna be doing Glamsterdam testing very, very soon. So whatever Glamsterdam requires, currently it looks like it's going to be block level access and EPBS and possibly fossil. So those features will be coming to Ethereum package basically as soon as we decided that the spec is going to make it into the next fork. So I would expect in the next month or two, we're going to be seeing a lot more Glamsterdam related features coming to Ethereum package. Also, lean Ethereum related stuff might make it into the core Ethereum package as well. It still depends on how much extra complexity that will add, and if it's insignificant, then we're probably just going to merge it in there. Otherwise, we might create a fork of it, and then the lean Ethereum guys can also start prototyping on that.
Great, thank you.
Or what kind of features are you looking forward to? Because yeah, if you're looking for a very specific feature, just create an issue and we can take a look.
I was thinking about, like, since I'm working on Lodestar, like something in between, some connections. So probably everything that you already mentioned is interesting for them. So far I'm checking the Assertor. They still do want to integrate it because they have their current SIM framework, but maybe in the future. So not sure exactly.
Sorry, the what?
Assertor.
Oh, Assertor. Yeah, so Assertor is already integrated into Curtis as much as it can. So what you can do is you can create a Assertor test yourself and run that locally. So.
Yes, exactly. But so far they told me that it's too heavy for them to run, so they wanna just use the Ethereum package to simulate like the node, the node setup, and use their own SIM assertions, and maybe in the future use Assertor.
Yeah, that would also work.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah, pretty well. We still have some time left, so please use the opportunity and ask us some questions.
Mario, your voice is pretty bad again.
Is it bad again? I'm sorry.
Now it's better.
Try
So
to
I
get
think
closer.
you're on your
Yeah.
laptop.
Need to be closer to the mic. Yeah, folks, feel free to ask any more questions because I will seize the opportunity, and we have the last couple of minutes. So please use it to learn from BarnaBas and get some insight. Um, so what I'm curious about, like, whether what do you think about the limitation of number of client pairs? We talked about the cross-client testing here, and now it basically rises exponentially with every client having a squared number of combinations. So, where do you think are the limits, or like what is some optimal for the network distribution, for the client diversity? Like, what do we want to strive for there? Yeah, whether there are any existing issues already.
I already think we have too many clients. I think ideally 3 or 4 per EL and per CL would be more than enough. I think anything more than that is just basically icing on the cake and not heavily needed. It's the same way as number of validators on the beacon chain. Having 1 million validators on the beacon chain is overkill, absolutely. And this is why we introduced MaxDB, and this is why we are asking large node operators to consolidate their validators, to reduce the beacon state, to reduce the amount of work that a specific validator client will need to do, or CI client will need to do. So I think we are overdoing it already. I'm not asking for more clients.
Yeah. Okay. So we are already there, right? It's like 30 combinations now, 6 and 5. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's a bit of a negative tone to end this with. So, guys, if you have any more positive questions, I'll give you one more chance to ask something before we wrap it up.
Yeah, maybe one more thing from me. So I'm also doing a 10-year Ethereum celebration, but I'm doing it in Budapest. So if any of you happen to be in Budapest today, I will also be giving a talk there at an hour from now. So I'm not sure how many of you are staying in Budapest today, but you're welcome to join.
Oh, that's awesome! I had no idea. So yeah, good luck there. Enjoy that
Thank you.
very well. Yeah, is Eniko doing it? Maybe I know she did some meetups in Budapest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Annika is doing it. Yeah, she's the
Awesome,
organizer.
awesome.
They're gonna have
Oh, yeah,
like
very
50 or
well.
60 people there.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, yeah. So enjoy and yes, my regards. That's great. Yeah. Um, awesome. Yeah, I was visiting a couple of weeks ago. I had no idea about like thinking about the Ethereum community there. It's awesome. We have it all over. Yeah, nice. Okay. So before we wrap it up, I'll have one last quick question about some advice or something maybe that you wish you knew when you were starting in Ethereum or something. Some advice for people who are now starting to in their core development journey, if anything comes to mind.
Any of our tool is basically brand new, so none of them were there when I joined Ethereum. So check out our organization, EthPandaOps, and make an issue if you feel like some of the tooling is incomplete or if it's missing a key feature, or even better, make a PR if you feel like you're up for it. We are very open for any outside contributors, and we are always open for suggestions of how to make our tools better, because we're really trying to aim to make it even better, and we're really trying to work on making our tooling as good as possible. Yeah, you're putting me in the spot here right now. Find the one best tool. I think once a searcher has been reworked to be a bit easier to configure a specific test, that's definitely going to be one of the tooling where I would basically push everyone making more tests, because the more tests, the better. And creating tests is so cheap, so we should be writing tests for everything. And ideally, all new EIPs would be paired up with specific asserter tests as well. Same way as we have now consensus specs and execution specs. We should probably aim to have just as many asserter tests as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, so in the future for the searcher. Nice. Thank you so much, BarnaBas. Yeah, and once again, I encourage everyone to learn about EthPandaOps tools. Like it's also something that can help you to understand how the overall network, not just individual clients, work under the hood. Like it's great resources. So thanks so much. Yeah, thanks so much, BarnaBas. I think we can be here at 4 hours. So uh, really thank you for your time, and I hope you also enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something, you get inspired, and yeah, I'll see you next week on another one of these. Yeah.
Yep, thanks for having me. Bye bye.
Yeah, thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye, everyone.
Yep, bye.